Kaylee Coram, a high school junior from Virginia, like many teenagers, is aware of the risks associated with TikTok, but remains skeptical of the government's push to ban the platform. She uses TikTok not just for entertainment, but also to stay informed about news, discover new music, and pick up cooking tips. When asked about her trust in the Supreme Court to shape the future of an app used by 17% of teenagers almost constantly, she carefully expressed doubt, saying, "I don't exactly put full faith into it, but there's not much I can personally do." In the coming months, the Supreme Court is set to rule on several significant cases that could deeply affect teenagers' lives. These include potential restrictions on vaping products, the legality of a ban on transgender care for minors, and whether the controversial TikTok ban complies with the First Amendment. These cases have reached the Supreme Court at a time when lawmakers are divided over cultural issues, such as book bans, transgender student athletes, and American history education, sparking lawsuits that are rapidly moving through the courts. Amid this, young Americans have grown increasingly disillusioned with both the Supreme Court and Washington. A recent poll from Marquette Law School showed that only 44% of Americans aged 18 to 29 approve of the Supreme Court, marking the lowest approval rate among any age group. As Aaron Tang, a law professor at the University of California, Davis, points out, many of the most significant cases now before the court directly impact children's interests, particularly as state lawmakers focus on policies concerning youth and morality. The Supreme Court recently added another pivotal case to its docket, agreeing to hear arguments about the TikTok ban that President Joe Biden signed in April. The law, driven by national security concerns about TikTok's Chinese parent company, would allow the platform to continue operating in the U.S. if its American subsidiary severs ties with its Chinese owners. However, the case largely revolves around national security rather than how young people use the app, despite them being the most affected by the decision. The ban is slated to take effect on January 19th. This disconnect between the legal questions before the court and the impact on young people is also evident in other cases. For instance, a recent ruling on Tennessee's law banning gender-affirming care for minors largely focused on whether courts should defer to state lawmakers, with little attention given to the transgender minors for whom the care is vital. Similarly, a case involving the FDA's efforts to regulate vaping products centers on whether the agency followed proper legal procedures, rather than the health risks posed to teenagers. In these cases, young people often seem to be treated as secondary concerns, with their voices and experiences largely absent from the conversation. The structure of the federal judiciary and the court's approach to these cases have led to growing concerns. As Aaron Tang suggests, the court isn't deciding what's best for young people, but rather determining whether state lawmakers or federal agencies were justified in their policies. This approach has contributed to increasing disillusionment with the court among young people, with a Gallup survey showing that a significant portion of Gen Z voters lack trust in the institution. Teenagers like Spencer Rahim, a high school junior from Virginia, express mixed feelings about TikTok and the ban. While many teens have found ways to navigate concerns about the app, such as avoiding sharing personal information, Rahim believes the justices need to listen more to the people. They need to listen to the people a little bit more, he says, reflecting the sentiment that many teenagers feel their voices are often excluded from the decisions that directly affect them.